So now we are going to start new chapter, new module, which is Principle of Fire Prevention and Code Enforcement. We have 11 modules, right? The first one we have Introduction to Fire Prevention and Code Enforcement. Then we have Duties and Authorities, Code Standard and Permit Procedures, Private Fire Protection and Prevention Organization, all the way up to Fire Prevention Records and Record Keeping. So we have 11 modules, but the modules from 4 to all the way up to 11 is very short modules. So this week we are not going to take as much time compared to the previous week and all. We'll just complete module by module in 4 days, and then the 5th day you have exam. So first we have Principle of Fire Prevention and Code Enforcement Procedures, right? Module 1. So we have the scope of this course, right? So these are the scopes of this course for the code enforcement. Introduce and discuss principle of fire prevention, fire inspection, and code enforcement program, right? That are implemented to control fire and fire incidents. So now normally we have to all those code enforcement procedures are focusing on fire control and fire incident, right? This fire prevention service activities decrease the incidence and severity of uncontrolled fire.
Rafi, what about manual? Already upload or
Yes, manual. I will upload the manual. Just wait a moment. I will just upload manual alongside, so you guys can download it easily. Right. Community. Let's go to Certified Fire Safety Specialist course. Building contents. Item. Code enforcement. Okay, so I uploaded code enforcement manual. You can download in later time. Right, so now just focus on this the course now. So the fire prevention activities decrease the severity of uncontrolled fire. Right, inspection used as primary fire prevention method, which include engineering, code enforcement, fire life safety education, and fire investigation. Fire investigation aids in fire prevention efforts by indicating problem area that may require corrective education efforts, inspection emphasis, or legislation. Right. So these are some of the scopes we have. So now moving on to the beginning of fire prevention era, right? So where we first came the concept of fire prevention in our society. Right, let's go back to something around 100,000 years back, right? Historically, fire prevention was encouraged only after a large disaster. In the past, there is a fire which almost destroyed a city or almost destroy a complete area, like the London fire, and there is some fire the great conflagrations. So after those fires, there were some of the rules coming for fire prevention practices, right? As humans got civilized and commerce and trade started between region to region, fire become a necessary tools for heat, light, cooking, and industry, right? So the matches which we use for making fire, right? It existed since the Roman Empire, right? The Roman Empire, the Roman Emperor, they used matches for friction matches, right? And those are available publicly since 1800 centuries, not before that one. Nowadays, we are not using the friction matches, and it is replaced by the safety matches, right? So, throughout the history, the first recorded attempt of fire prevention and protection took place in Rome in about 300 BC, right? We call it Famila Publica. The meaning of Famila Publica is that they are the firefighters at those times. The first firefighters were called Famila Publica, right? So they were around 600 in numbers. They were around 600 person. Those person are just stationed around the gates of the city and gave alarm to the person if there is a fire. So they just simply standing and watching if there is a fire, and they give alarm to that one, right? So it was since the Roman Empire, around 600 person was there. After that, there were the vigilances, right? The next one we have after that, the Famila Publica were not so effective because they are normally war slaves. If they win some war, they keep the slave. So those slaves are not so much interested in protecting those areas because they are just brought from some other areas. To replace that one, the Roman Emperor Augustus, uh, instituted first municipal fire department. They call the corps of vigilance, right? And those are the one who perform fire patrol and fire extinguishing duties. So they just go around the cities all the time, and they were performing the fire patrolling and fire extinguishing duties. Then we have some of the great fire, the history of fire and fire prevention, right? In 1066, right, William decree, there was some of the emperors named William, he gave some decree for fire were to be extinguished and covered every evening at a time, right? Every evening at a time, signaled by the ringing bell. So no one is allowed to use the fire after some time into the evening, because most of the building at those moments were made of the combustible materials. So if there is a fire which is unattended, right, so it will catch fire. So they said that after this time you are not going to use that one. And in the 1500 centuries, English cities passed ordinance regulating bakers and candle makers, right? At those moments, the baking candle makers industry were the two hazardous trade, that involved due to the fire in close quarter that were the early cities, right? And then we came in 1666, the Great Fire of London, right? So this fire was very big at those moments, right? How what they said that there is some oven of King Charles Baker, there is some bakery store, and near oven there was a fire, right? And that fire were continuous for 5 days and nights, and those destroys around 1300 homes, 87 churches, cathedrals, warehouses, boats and barges, right? So after that, the people comes more proactive to a fire protection system, right? And then it takes 2 years, the parliament at that time to enact the London Bending Act, right? And commission appoint to enforce the regulation after 108 years in 1774. The fire office, later led to the formation of fire brigade to extinguish fire in insurance properties, right, and to the modern fire services. The Great Fire of London. This video is not here. I will just upload this video on the Blackboard, or I will I will share with you into the WhatsApp group. Then we have the National Board of Fire Underwriters accomplishment, right? So this is one of the US based insurance company, right? So the National Board of Fire Underwriters was founded by insurance executives who are in large part responsible for the system of fire prevention and protection. So at those
Mr.
moments,
Rafi,
yeah,
what about National Board of Fire? This is what,
yeah.
UK?
No, this is
UK or
the
USA?
US one. This is the USA, not the UK.
Uh-huh.
National Board of Fire Underwriters. So these are made by some of the insurance executives who are in large part responsible for system of fire prevention and protection, right? So they were normally taking care of the construction and fire safety course, municipal water supply, fire apparatus, fire alarm system, department, insurance, and those rating system at those moment, right? In 1896, NFPA was formed, right, under the auspices of the board to promote uniformity in fire protection standards. So before 96, 18th century 96, right, there was no NFPA code, something like that. So they came into the 96, right? And Underwriters Laboratories, the one we call UL at this moment, right? Underwriters Laboratories began as the Underwriters Electrical Bureau, inspecting and testing electrical display for 1893 World Fair in Chicago, right? On behalf of the National Board of Fire Underwriters. Then those board first published the National Electrical Code in 96, right? And then the published building and fire codes as American insurance associations, and there are lots of the history behind that we are not going to in more details, but this is how the historical aspect, before something happens, the humankind didn't realize how to protect that one. So it comes from the history, lesson learned from the past, and the best science and engineering principle to protect that one in future. Right, so dynamics of fire prevention today, what is those dynamics, right? Now we are moving on to the fire prevention inspection, right? To the inspection of the fire prevention. So inspection promote us, inspection ensure compliance with mandated life safety conditions, right? With a structure, right? So meaning of the compliance is that, I have said that you have to follow a Saudi fire code, right? So if you have installing everything based on the Saudi fire code requirement, means you are complying with the code or complying with the NFPA. This is what it. So the main purpose for the fire prevention inspection is to ensure compliance with mandated life safety conditions, right, within a structure. The inspector identify a potential hazard that could cause a fire, allow a fire to develop, or allow a fire to spread, right? So the inspector will go to the site and he will note all those conditions which allows fire to go increase by time to time and spread. To determine the process, what is the process, high hazard contains materials, flammable and combustible, liquid installation and operation are installed correctly, and hazards are properly maintained, right? The inspector determine the proper installation, operation and maintenance of fire protection features, system and appliance within the building, right? So they will follow all those codes for inspection, testing and maintenance of the fire protection system. and to ascertain that whether each fire protection system is tested and maintained regularly, and that record kept for inspection and maintenance by the building owners or others, right? So these are the some of the benefits of the fire prevention inspection. So next, moving on to the more into detail fire prevention inspection, right? We have you can see one inspector looking for some riser default, right? He has some sprinkler risers with some checklist in his hand. He's doing his inspection duty, right, to prevent the fire, right? Fire detection equipment like alarms, annunciations, and notification appliances, sprinkler valve operations, supervises, and fire pump shall be tested and maintained regularly as part of the overall inspection process. Normally, the sprinkler valve is the main reason for fire not getting extinguished or not getting control into a building. Most of the time, a sprinkler system fail. The main reason is the main reason for the failing of the sprinkler system is the closing of the sprinkler valve or partially open. So in that case, the proper flow and discharge not maintained. The information on a building and its processes should be recorded during the inspection. All the inspections should be recorded and keep at a record, right? The inspector should review fire safety emergency procedures to ensure that they are adequate and up to date with respect to the type of occupancies involved and the various type of fire protection features. So the one we are mainly talking about the inspection requirement, right? So the inspector have to review the fire safety emergency procedures, right, and make sure that it is up to date, not very old and not updated due to time and change in the various occupancy classification. The inspection should also provide inspection provide an upper of a building about fire safety behavior, right, and the need for adequate fire and life safety conditions in that area under their control. So now we have the types of fire prevention inspection. Just wait. Then we have the types of fire prevention inspection, right? The fire inspection can be classified into three types. There are three types of the inspection, right? Those are installation and new construction inspection, ongoing compliance, and re-inspection. The installation and new construction inspection means, right, it ensures compliance with adopted codes and the standard, right, and help to eliminate problem before a building is occupied or new process or hazard is introduced. Normally, right, it is just inspection at the site once a building is getting constructed. After the construction is someone is going to occupy the building, right? So they will look all those fire protection system, life safety code, passive and active fire protection system into those occupancies, right? That they have adopted the code and the standard, right? Which help to eliminate problem before the building is occupied, right? If there is any deficiency into the installation of the plant, they might ask them to they have power to stop the building uses until they have modified it, right? This is the first one. Then we have ongoing compliance inspection, right? The ongoing fire inspection are needed to ensure that occupancies fire protection system and hazard protection are intact, right? Uh, Meaning that this inspection ensure compliance with prior approvals, ordinance, and adopted codes and standard, right? So they might go to those places by time to time, and they might look for, let's say, the maintenance, how you have maintained your fire protection system, or they will look the means of egress, right? The exit area, if there is a proper exit pathways, there is no storage, or they have not violated any rules, right? Normally, maybe after approval from the building department, they are not following those rules. So during ongoing compliance inspection, they have to go to the site and look for all fire protection system, occupancy classifications, hazard protection are intact as for uh, code and standard they have provided in earlier. Then we have the re-inspect. Normally, if you are inspecting any site, let's say you are inspecting a fire protection system, which is a sprinkler system, right? You found some mistakes, right? Let's say you found some mistake that there is no sprinkler into those uh, storage areas, right? Or the sprinkler system is out of service, right? So at that time, they will go to the site, they will inspect fire and life safety violation, and if that is there, they will send you the notice, right? That I'm giving you 1 month time to make the system as per those requirements, and I will be come again for the inspections. We call it the re-inspection.
Mr. Rabi, these three inspection types for existing building, right?
Then we have code
Yes, Mr. Rabi.
enforcement. Yeah.
These are three types of inspection for existing building.
No, no. The first one is for the existing. Yeah, the first one is for the new construction, right? And the remaining two are for the existing building, right? Remaining two are for the existing. Uh, means anyone from the civil defense can go to your company and they look for all those things, how you are maintaining. If they found some mistake, they will ask you to correct that one. If you are not correcting, then you are violating the requirement of those codes and all. So the first one is for the new construction building, the occupancy before occupying those areas. But the next two one is for the building which is already into the service, and the ASA or the civil defense team go to those locations by time to time and look for all those requirements. I have noticed, back maybe 3 years back, one of my company was there in Kovar. They came, civil defense team came to my for 2 or 3 times. They were looking for the location of the smoke detectors. Normally when a company buys some space, they might divide that space into different compartment, different areas, different group zones and all. At those times, those detectors may be not exactly covering all those buildings. So if during that time the civil defense team or any building code enforcement officials coming to site, they will find some of the violation, and they will ask them to reissue that one within 1 month or within 10 days, and ask them to come again to check if you have complying the rules. This is the two requirement. Then we have the fire prevention codes, right? We are now on to the code enforcement. Enforcement means enforcing some laws, rules, right? Which is coded in some of the books, which is accepted by the government body, state, or the district officials, right? The fire laws of the state, county, fire district, or community delegate general responsibility and authority of fire officials involved in fire prevention activities, right? The state government or the local ordinance, right? Here in our area, under civil defense or under SCIS or under any kind of the MODON or industrial city, they have different ordinances, right? So those ordinances may outline how a fire code is written or adopted. Okay? For Saudi Arabia, recently they have adopted International Fire Code, right? IFC, International Fire Code. They have taken all the content from the IFC 2015, and they have made Saudi Fire Code based on exact requirement of those International Fire Code. But they have keep in mind the geographical and environmental location of the Saudi Arabia, the heat, dust, the heat, dust, and any kind of the problem they are getting in the Middle East region. So they have adopted their own code standard, and you have to abide by those requirement of IBC or IFC. The fire prevention officials may have authority to write a local fire code or to adopt a nationally developed model code by reference, right? So it's up to the civil defense which code or which building code they are going to use. NFPA publishes NFPA 1, which is Uniform Fire Code, right? Which incorporates many NFPA standards by references, right? So in NFPA 1, if you can see NFPA 1 have given all those requirements for the fire protection system, right? And they will give reference only in within the NFPA code and standard, right? So if you can open the NFPA handbooks, sorry, we have the manual only for the handbooks, right? So NFPA, under NFPA 1, they have, if you can see the chapters, NFPA 1 have given regarding the definitions, general requirement, performance-based option, the one we discussed into our fire protection design, classification of occupancies, building services, feature of fire protection system, means of egress, right? Fire department service, ceiling construction, alternation and demolition operations, right? Fire department access and water supply, combustible waste, and all. So NFPA 1 is the uniform fire code, and they will give all those references to their various codes and standard like NFPA 13, 20, 24, 25, 70, 72, and so on based on their requirement. The International Code Council, we call ICC, has developed its own model fire code, right? The International Fire Code, this code most of the references from NFPA. Like they say, the sprinkler system shall be installed as for NFPA 13, or fire alarm system shall be installed as for NFPA 72, and so on. Topics, hazards, and occupancies are governed by NFPA National Fire Protection Codes. Now we are moving on to the code enforcement procedures, right? The fire prevention process includes a number of enforcement procedures, right, to establish compliance with the fire code, right? Are you complying with the fire code, right? Means you have to follow, let's say you have to follow Saudi fire code and you're installing a new building. Your building is ready, so it's now time for the building permit, and also those officials, the ASJ or the enforcement officer will come and they will look for all those requirements, whether you are following or not. So now we have the permit side under code enforcement procedures. First we have the permit. The permits is like an official document issued by a fire prevention division to authorize authorities to authorize the performance of a specific activity or events. Like if you are doing any kind of the activities inside a city or inside the municipal areas or any event, you have to take the permit for that, right? And that permit issued in accordance with applicable codes, right, by the fire official or for the use, handling, storage, manufacturing, by the fire official for the use, handling, storage, manufacturing, and those various activities, right? The permit they issue only if your kind of the building means approval means code requirements. So if you have followed all the code requirement, then they will only give you the permit, which is for your activities or any kind of the events. Then we have certificate, right? under the code enforcement procedures. So it's like a written document issued by any authority of the fire officials, like we have the civil defense in the most of the cities, right? To any person or business, any person or business grant permission to conduct or engage in any operation or act for which certification is required. So they give the certificate for any kind of the operation or act, and those certifications must be given by the authorities like ASA or civil defense, whatever we can say. Now the next line, next one we have, right? Depending on the needs of jurisdiction, certificates of approval may be required before smoke or heat detectors, fire extinguishers, fireproofing materials, or other fire protection devices are offered for sale to the general public, right? So if you are selling something to the market, those certificates should be by the code enforcement official. They might ask for all kind of those. They might ask all kind of those fire protection detection or passive fire protection devices before you are going to sell this. The certificate designed to ensure that only those fire protection appliances that will function in a satisfactory manner are offered for sale to the public. So it is like, the meaning of that, the certificates. I suppose you are making some of the fire, you have authorities to make those equipment, and you are following various codes, standard requirement along with the UN and FM marking. This is what they were talking about. Then the license, right? A fire protection system should be only done by a fire protection work now in Saudi Arabia should be only done by a fire protection contractor, not by any other contractor. If you are working inside if you are working inside SCIS premises, like all those process industries, we have petrochemicals like Aramco, Sabic, Lane, and so on. Those within those premises or any SCIS premises, if you are doing any fire protection work, like you are a fire protection contractor or fire protection consultant, you should have license. You should have approval and license from the SCIS that I have got license to work under those areas under SCIS, and those license will be, I think, valid for only 2 to 3 years, and then you have to renew one by one. Those license will be given by based on your performance, number of experts within your company, right? How many person are there within inside your company, and what was your experience, what are the certifications and license and all they will give. Then enforcement notices we have, right? Normally, if you are doing some of the fire protection inspection, right, and you found some of the violation of the fire code, right? Let's say you are going to check some of the life safety code, and you are just going to look around. You are just going to look around the exit area, right? The exit access and the means of egress. And what you found that within the exit they have used for the storage. Most of the time, no one is using the staircase, right? Until there is a fire, they are just using the lift. So by time to time, those some of the persons who are not enough qualified to understand the requirement of fire and life safety code, what they used to do, they just put a storage inside the staircases, maybe below the stairs or in the side wall. So those are some of the violations. And if the inspection enforcement officers going to your site and they discover during inspection the violation, must be called to the attention of the owner or occupants. He will give the occupant or owner a notification that there is some violation of the fire code. You have to correct those violations, right? And when those situation is not corrected during the inspection or is a recurring uncorrected violation, right? Reoccurring uncorrected violation again and again, several types of enforcement procedure may be available to the fire inspection officer, right? So if that is not getting that is not getting done at the time of the inspection, right? And that is reoccurring again and again, so those areas, the fire inspection officer have the following rights, right? Now we have warning or notice of violations. Right? If you go to your site, if you are going to inspect some of the fire protection equipment, let's say the life safety, the passive fire protection system, right? Or maybe the means of egress, you are going to look what are the violations, or you are going to look for the fire pump room condition, how they have stored the fire pumps, or what is the condition of the storage tanks and all those requirements, right? Whether your pumps are working in time to working as per the design and maintain the ITM requirement of NFPA, right? So the inspection officers or the enforcement officials, right? They might issue notice to the owner or occupant saying that there are a specific violation of fire code or ordinances has been identified during the inspection. Depending on the legal requirement of the jurisdictions, a notice of violation will be sent to the building owner, right? The building owner, or much like receiving a traffic ticket, right? The owner may be required to sign a form and keep a copy of the document. The specific violation and recommendation for correction of the violation should also be noted in the violation notice, right? So you go to your site as a inspection officer or a representative of the civil defense or a code enforcement official. You found some of the violation of the fire codes, right? So you have to note down and you have to give this to the occupant that you are violating this code. You have to correct this one, and I may comes after 1 month and I have to check and then I will give the sign, right? So this is the some of the warnings and notice violations. Then we have the red tags or condemnation notice, right? Red tag notice. What are the enforcement notice we have? Normally, the red tag means, these are simply mounted on some of the unsafe and dangerous equipment, right? These notices are usually attached to appliance system or equipment that would be unsafe and dangerous if allowed to remain in operations. Let's say you are going to a healthcare occupancies, a hospitals, a polyclinic, and their fire pump room is not maintained. Their fire pump is out of service for some times, and they are still using the building. So that is a unsafe condition because it's a healthcare occupancy, and they have to correct that one. This is the one requirement. The second one, you might be going to you might be going to some of the factory, which is the plastic manufacturing companies, and they are not following the requirement of the fire code, right? So let's say the equipment they are using, the boiler, the vessel, pump, and all kind of the process they are using to make the products, that is fully corroded, and it almost looks like it is almost out of service, but they are still using. That is not safe, and they will ask that this is unsafe and dangerous if allowed to remain in operation. So they will give a red tag condemnation notice that you have to repair these areas before reusing this one. Otherwise, there might be some of the dangerous. Now, once you going to the site and you see the red tag process, right? So it should be only red tag means you are just going and putting some of the tag and seal. It is be only going to remove once everything has been. So again coming to the site and seeing that everything is under normal condition, then you can remove the red tags and they are able to use those process or operation again.
Mr. Rabi, what if
Yeah.
they just remove the red tag uh, without the inspection come back to see?
So it is a
What?
violation of the code. Then it is a violation of the code, and they might go for the next step, which is citation or someone. They will ask to come to the court. Civil. This is a civil violation. You have to come to the court, and you have to face all the jurisdiction requirement, right? That is next. If I said that this is not safe to work, and you have started the process, and suppose it is a boiler and the boiler catches the fire, or the burner out of control, or the boiler of the vessel got exploded, and maybe some of the person getting died, then who are responsible for that? the owner of the company, because when it is getting the red corners, you are still using that one without re-inspection and approval. So this is up to them, but after there is a citation and summonation, right? So if there is a violation of fire code requirement or other fire regulation are considered either misdemeanors or civil, it is called civil violations, right? Citation means we have asked you to come to some civil court on this service. I ask you not to resume your operation under red tag condition, but you resume without correcting your deficiency into your plant and re-inspection by the code enforcement officials. So that now go to the judge and civil procedures, right? So this is a violation of the fire code. And if someone is doing like that, the way Ahmad said, the fire official may issue a citations or summons to an individual who is in violation of the fire code, right? So the one who is the man in charge of those area, he will be issued to the civil procedures, civil processing and all the civil court, and the hearing will be going on until it is getting some judgment. So this document constitutes a notice for the violators, right, to appear before the appropriate court. So now it is the court procedures, right, to respond to the violation. Now he will going and he will say from his side what was those requirement, and the code enforcement official will say they see we see this is some of areas where due to that we give the red tag or red corners, but this guy is not following the rules, and then the hearing process will go on, right? So here is just some of the condemnation letters or summons to appear into a court, right? They say that this is that I have be this to accordance with chapter 244 of the sections, like any code from those civil requirement. We found that at this location, right, there are some of the equipment which is totally in unsafe conditions and not going to you are not going to use that one, but you used. So there might you have to go to the courts or civil procedures for that one. That is very dangerous, right? If it is followed strictly, then. And then we have the warrants, right? The final, we have the enforcement notice, which is a warrant, right? A warrant is an order issued by magistrate or agent of the court that direct a law officer to arrest the violators, right? So now moving on again to the Ahmad question, right? The red corner, he didn't care about that one. And after that, they give the summons, right? You have to come to this court for this work. And even if you are not coming there, then after that, there is a warrant, right? So the magistrate of the court or agent of the court direct a law officer to arrest the violators, the one who is violating the law or rules, and bring them to the court, right? So now all the civil procedures will go at the court procedure, right? The judgment and all. Now moving on to the record keeping, right? Normally we have to keep the record of all kind of the on all action taken by the in-service fire suppression personnel, right? So what is the records are there, like fire prevention division or fire marshal office is an essential part of both information and administration. So we have to keep the record for all those activities during the inspection of the site and all, right? The records of code enforcement, document relating to inspection, violation notices, summonses, plan review comments, right? The plan review comments, right? Normally, you have to review the one we saw into the fire plan review, right? If you found something, those comment approval and the review approval of those the plans, the consultant who approved the plan, right? Fire reports, investigation, permit issue, the fire officials or recorded by the civil defense team, or let's say code enforcement officials who is enforcing the code, right? Well organized and maintained inspection files and building records are essential foundation for enforcement act. so that in future they are not, if future something happens under your jurisdiction, some point to catch those persons, right? Let's say that the building they have designed based on the building they have designed for, let's say it is for the residential building, but they have converted this to the office building, right? Or maybe the educational facility like school and all, right? So at those moments, the means of egress size, the width of requirement, life safety code requirement, everything will be the superior than the previous one. Now, if someone is occupied in those areas, right, you cannot identify those unless you have those records. What how you give the approval of those building? What is the certificate of occupancy? What are those conditions and all? So this should we have to keep in well organized, and we have to keep the record for the future use. Records also provide, needed to measure fire department effectiveness in complying fire prevention goals, and provide department management with information for budgetary and administrative purposes. Now, last we have introduction just for Saudi Fire Code SPC 801 CR 18, right? So we are just going to review the scope and application of that one. The Saudi Building Code 801 or Saudi Fire Code establishes regulations affecting or relating to structure, process, premises, and safeguarding regarding all the following. And they are giving some of the safety safeguarding procedure for that, right? These are some of the scope for that. The hazard of fire and explosion arising from storage, handling, or use of structural material or device, right? Saudi Building Code also, any fire code or Saudi Building says that if your building is for residential or office occupancies, right? You cannot more than certain quantity of flammable and combustible. Now you are just owning your building. Suppose I am in my building in Royal Commission and I am just using my house as a storage of some of the flammable and combustible liquid, more than what is required for local use, like just like for the ordinary household, the chemical and all. But I am keeping in more quantity for the selling purpose, for the commercial purposes. That is, I'm follow me there. It also means the condition hazardous to life, property, or public, right? Life, property, or public, protecting our life by sprinkler system, protecting the properties, and for the public welfare in the occupancies of structure, hazards in the structure or on the premises from occupancy or operations, right? So all those are the requirement of the Saudi Building Code 801. The condition affecting the safety of firefighters and emergency responders during emergency operation. The Saudi Building Code, Saudi Fire Code also taking care of how you have provided the safety of firefighters and emergency responders during emergency operation. Can any one of you guys recommended me any kind of the violation as for the last line? Safety of firefighters and emergency responders during emergency operations. You can give any example. If you remember from the fire protection design or fire plan review.
You mean, for example, like some obstruction, for example, in the fire department access?
Yeah, access to the buildings, the fireproofing, the passive fire protection system required to the fire pump room. There should be easily outside access to the outside from the fire door. And the one we discussed, there should be hydrant at least around 12 meters away from the building, right? So that if the building collapses during firefighting operations, the firefighting team should not get damaged. Right? The one we discussed, minimum 12-meter distance from the building is if possible. Then we have the purpose of we have the purpose as per 101.2. The purpose of Saudi Fire Code is to establish the minimum requirement consistent with the nationally recognized good practices for providing a reasonable level of fire, life safety and property protection, right? From hazard of fire, explosion, dangerous condition in new and existing buildings or any kind of the premises during, and to provide a reasonable level of safety to firefighters and emergency response team during emergency. Applicability of SBC A01, where it is applicable, right? The construction and design provision for this code applies to structural facilities and conditions arising after the adoption of this code, right? So suppose the code is written 2020, so it will be only applied to the building which is manufactured, which is constructed in 2020, not before that one. And if there is an existing structure, facility, and condition not legally in existence at the time of adoption of the fire code, not legally in existence means not legally in existence means it is not given permit by the civil defense. This building is, this property is unauthorized. You just made by your own self. You have not taken approval from any team or civil defense. So for that also you have to now follow the fire code, because your building is already not under the authorities provided by the civil defense. And any existing structure, facilities, and condition that in the operation of fire code officials constitute a distinct hazard to life and property, right? Now they are talking about if there is any existing facilities which have more potential for hazard of life and property, and this is very dangerous or very unsafe. For that you have to follow the Saudi Fire Code. So we can use mainly for the new construction also, or existing construction which is not approved by the civil defense or the building officials. And the last one we have distinct hazard to life and properties, which is not the normal one. Is the highly hazardous processes, and you have to follow the Saudi building code. Now the last one we have the conflict and provision. Which code you are going to follow if there is any conflict coming between the Saudi Fire Code and any other fire code, right? Provision of this code shall apply where conflicts occur between provision of the code and different codes and standard, right? Precision of this code shall take precedence over provision of other reference code, right? So if you have IFC requirement, and if you are following the international building code and you are filling the Saudi building code, you have to take over the Saudi building code, not with the international building code. This is what they are talking about, the conflict and provisions. Okay, this is all about module 1.